Meeting at the Willard Hotel, Washington, D.C., 1922. Louis and Suzanne were both 23, and since they were thinking seriously now of marriage, had to meet with his mother Emma. It was a little difficult. It couldn't be at the small apartment he'd shared with her until 1917 when he left for the Navy. She swore she was never coming back to that. It couldn't be at Suzanne's father's house outside the city for 3 or 4 reasons. And his mother had no place of her own. She was living and working as a chambermaid in a seedy hotel near the Tenderloin district, a few blocks from the capital, when she wasn't on the streets. Together, he and Suzanne decided on some place nice, hopeful, with more style than they could afford, but if it didn't cost anything, they could afford it. A hotel lobby, say, a good hotel. Why not the famous Willard with all its politicians? If Emma dressed right, they'd go unnoticed there. He tried to help her with money, though he didn't have much to help with, but she'd say yes today and no tomorrow. My shoes are in rags, she'd written 2 years ago from Philadelphia, but I'm made a fool of. Men are dirty devils. Suffice I shall have my revenge if it takes 10,000 years. Yes, it would do. They went a week before to make sure. Saturday afternoon, after getting off their jobs, a corner of the lobby, quiet, almost private, a small sofa, 2 chairs, a low table, under windows overlooking a few early-leafed trees on Pennsylvania Avenue. If that one was taken, the next one down. It wasn't for permission, or even acceptance. It was that Suzanne had to know, then decide. Emma came in wary, but looked all right in a bluish-purple dress and a brown sweater coat that was a little frazzled at the cuffs. Louis was in a dark suit and tie, Suzanne in a long dark dress and white jacket. "So why here?" Emma said with a smile that came and went quickly. "You didn't have a better idea?" "We thought," Louis started. "You remember, don't you? Your father's name is Willard." "Yes. No, I didn't think of it. He was invited to the White House once, you know. I write and write. I don't know where he is. Be careful, Miss Kay," she said without looking at her. "General delivery, I think." But Suzanne was looking at the floor. "Well, we're meeting in your father's mind, such as it is, all this pretense." She waved one hand at the room and turned her blue eyes hard on him. No, it's just an accident." To fill the silence, they explained what they wanted to do. After the explanation, Emma said, "Well, Louis, if you're going to be married, you'll have to sign a disclaimer." He smiled. "A what?" "Before a notary. I know my rights. I, Louis, etc., do hereby give up any claim to any estate of my mother, Emma S., etc." "There isn't any estate, Mother." "There might be. You never can tell, can you? Oh, what some gift the gifty give us to see ourselves as theirs see us." "All right, of course, Mother, I want to help you. Does Miss Kay want to help me?" Suzanne looked up. Yes, I do." "Louis, if you marry, you'll leave me flat broke, and I'm a semi-invalid. Horrid spells of facial neuralgia, painful affection of the nerves of the face, accompanied by a general upsetting of the entire system. Awful." She took a lace handkerchief out of her purse. "You know, I didn't want you to bring Miss Kay to this. I'm in a terribly distracted and nervous state and do not wish any startling disclosures, nor to meet any strangers." She got up to go. Mother, let us help you." "You two can never help me." Squeezing between them, she bumped her leg on the table, took a few steps and turned. "You see? You know they keep telling me I'll have to go to the government hospital for the insane and be incarcerated, but I'll watch out." After she was gone, they looked at each other straight on for the first time since the meeting had started, Louis with eyes slightly watery, Suzanne with a look that saw and stayed steady. "Well," he said. "I'm marrying you," she said, "not your mother." It's not that simple. No, but it's what I want. In October, about a month after their marriage, she was committed. There was nothing they could do. He had to identify her at the police station. It wasn't the soliciting. It was the rage, the attacks on the police, the threats, the quiet persecution fury that finally got her sent away to St. Elizabeth's. With few contacts, few letters. I want you to come immediately and get me out of here. Louis and Suzanne worked hard in Washington for 5 more years, then moved to Philadelphia and started a new life. Emma stayed in St. Elizabeth's for 25 years, dying there at last about a year after it was briefly in the news because Ezra Pound had arrived. When at last I learned these things, I felt cheated and thought my father, mother too, had been cruel all those years, almost completely ignoring her existence and, above all, completely hiding her existence from all 3 children. After his death, I found her letters, obsessive, sometimes disordered, but grimly sane. Her small requests, Kilno's toothpaste, thread from Walworth's, a new scarf. His gifts, her complaints. It's the wrong size. Why don't you write more often? Occasionally her loving thanks. It's either her or me, Primo Levi said at last, toward the end of his life, about his mother. But he was 67, and it turned out to be him. My father had to say it at 23. That secret, and what my mother said that day, bound them together with love and gratitude, and who knows, maybe guilt, for life. He kept it all from us, and forgot nothing, and loved Suzanne utterly till he died. Now, years after his death, I tell him if I could, you were right.